Hello there, this is Sam, as always, and this is episode 53 of the VictorPrep English Vocab podcast. Let's get started with an amazing quote by the philosopher Epictetus. First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Now, I love this quote. It's amazing, but one thing I have to say is that everyone who's listening to the podcast is special. And the reason I say that is because you've chosen to do something hard. You've chosen to learn something. You've chosen to spend your own time to better yourself. Not because anyone's forcing you to do it, but because you have something that is driving you. Some goal or some dream, whether it's for just to better yourself, to improve your language skills, to help you at work, or because you're trying to learn English and you want to get the best English possible, or because you really want to get into a great school and you want to get a really good score in the GRE. But whatever reason you're doing this for, it's hard to do something like that. It's hard to realize that you need to improve yourself at something and then to actually do the work. Because one thing you'll realize very quickly is, in life, when things get hard, when things hurt, most people quit. Most people try something, they say, I'm not that good at that, or that's too difficult, and then they stop. Because people don't like doing things that are hard. People don't like it when it hurts, and they don't like feeling like they're not good at something. So the fact that you're here, and you're listening, or you're watching, shows that you have something. And when you get tired, and when you want to quit, I just want you to think of everyone else who's listening to the podcast and realize that we're all a team. We are one big team, and I'm part of that team, and all those guys who are in India listen to this podcast, they're part of the team. All the guys in the US, they're also part of the team. The guys in China, the guys in Nepal, the guys in England, we're all part of the same team. And if you're ever feeling low on energy and you want to quit, you don't want to study anymore, you don't want to listen to the podcast anymore, you can't think you can't do it, just think of everyone else who's there. Because I know how many people listen to the podcast about, and there's thousands of people, thousands and thousands of people who are listening to this, and we're one team, and I want you to think of everyone else who's striving towards some goal, just like you are, and keep it up, because I'm not going to give up. You guys give me energy, and you should give each other energy too. So let's do it. And I hope that gives you some Thursday motivation. So, episode 53, the VictorPrep Vocab podcast. Let's start by reviewing the words from episode 52. Those were eulogy. That is a speech or piece of writing that praises someone or praises something. Libertine is a person, often it's a man, but can be a woman too, who behaves without moral principles. They like to party, they don't have a sense of responsibility, they're kind of a wild child. Pare, that's P-A-R-E, pare means to reduce something in size gradually. So like paring the skin off an apple or paring the skin off an avocado. You could also pare down the size of anything. In a game show where they're slowly reducing the number of competitors, they're eliminating competitors, they're paring down the size of the number of competitors, basically. And our final word from episode 52 was morose. That means gloomy, ill-tempered, grumpy, and so on. So, time for words from episode 53, the new words. So, our first word is mendacious. Mendacious. That's spelled M-E-N-D-A-C-I-O-U-S. Mendacious. Mendacious pretty simply means not telling the truth, lying. So if someone is mendacious, they're lying, they are a liar. Some synonyms are deceitful, lying, insincere, fraudulent, dishonest, false, and so on. So, mendacious, just think of some time when you told a lie. You were mendacious then. I can't think of any really similar other words that would give us a clue to remember that word. I suppose a way you might remember mendacious is if you are mendacious, so you are lying, you kind of have to mend your ways. You haven't been good, you have to mend your ways. So you have to redeem yourself, you have to do something to fix your bad behavior. So maybe that helps remind you of what mendacious means. Our second word is fractious. 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 Now, fractious is typically used for children, and it means when children are they're fighting a lot, they're irritable, they're quarreling. It means grumpy or bad-tempered. I mean, it has something in common with the word we learned last time, morose, which means grumpy and irritable. But fractious is similar, but often you'll find it used for children. So the pair of children were fractious, they kept fighting and quarreling. Some synonyms are bad-tempered, ill-tempered, grouchy, cantankerous, crabby, waspish. Fractious also has another meaning, which means difficult to control. So anything that is fractious is difficult to control, and often that's used for a group of people or an organization. So if you have a crowd of people and it's a fractious crowd of people, that is a difficult to control group of people. So that some synonyms for that are unruly, uncontrollable, unmanageable, or out of control. So the two meanings, usually fractious applying to children, irritable, quarrelsome. Imagine two siblings who are fighting all the time and grumpy with each other and so on. And fractious when applied to a group or organization, and that group is very difficult to control, uncontrollable, and unmanageable. Our next word is lassitude. Lassitude. That's spelled Lassitude. Lassitude. Lassitude just means a state of lack of energy, tiredness. Imagine one of those summer days where you go outside and it's so warm and it's kind of humid, and that warm humidity just makes you feel very lazy and tired, and you just want to lie down and just have a nap. That's lassitude. It means a lack of energy. Some synonyms are weariness, listlessness, sluggishness, fatigue, torpor. Lassitude, I think it sounds a bit like it means. Lassitude. You could think of lazytude. Imagine those S's were Z's. Lazytude, lassitude, lassitude. Lassitude is often used when talking about symptoms of an illness. Imagine an illness that takes all your energy away. Lassitude. It's often used in that sort of context. So you're a bit sick and you've got no energy. It can be a mental weariness or a physical weariness. So I guess that Monday morning feeling when you just don't want to get out of bed, lassitude, right? And our final word of today is Zephyr. Zephyr. I love this word. And I think there's actually a Red Hot Chili Peppers song that uses the name of this song. Name of this word. Anyway, Zephyr. It's a word you won't hear very often in everyday speech. it's actually very uncommon to hear anyone say Zephyr, but a Zephyr means a light wind, or a gentle breeze. So on a summer's day, you imagine a child is trying to fly a kite and there's only a gentle breeze, and the kite isn't really flying, it's just sort of flapping around in the wind. You could say the Zephyr, or that Zephyr, is not enough to fly a kite. There aren't really many synonyms for Zephyr. It's just a very light breeze. What's interesting is this word actually comes from a Greek god, Zephyros. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Zephyros was the Greek god of the west wind. So, I don't know if you're going to remember that, but Zephyr does sound like a goddish name. You have Zeus, you have Apollo, we have Zephyros. So, when you see Zephyr, you might be able to think, sounds like a god's name. However, I'm not sure it's that easy to remember the Greek god of the west wind. However, I feel like Zephyr is one of those words that's kind of unusual, and once you know it means a light breeze, and you can imagine just feeling a light zephyr on your face, I think it's relatively... At least there are certain words in my lifetime that I always forget. Abrogate, for example. Always forget the meaning of that one. But Zephyr, I heard it once, light breeze, and then it's always been in my mind. So hopefully you'll find it easy too. So those are our 4 words. I'm going to quickly review them. Mendacious means lying. If someone is mendacious, they're a person who doesn't tell the truth, they're a liar. Fractious, often when used for children, it means they're irritable, they're fighting a lot, they're quarrelsome. Fractious when applied to a group, if you imagine someone who is walking their dogs, and they have a huge amount of dogs, and the dogs, for whatever reason, are uncontrollable today. This person's trying to get the dogs to cross the street, and they're not crossing the street. They're uncontrollable. You could say the group of dogs are fractious. Our 3rd word is lassitude. That means a state of mental, physical weariness, lack of energy, sluggishness, tiredness. And Zephyr, a Zephyr is a light breeze. That's it, pretty much. So, next time you're outside and you feel a light breeze, tell your friend, wow, what a Zephyr today. What a beautiful little Zephyr. Oh my goodness. So, those were our 4 words. I feel like I covered those really quickly today. Anyway, now on to our example sentences. For each of those sentences, think of which word I'm referring to, and afterwards I'll tell you which one it was. It's never very surprising when we discover that an elected politician has been lying about one thing or the other.
Mendacious.
After Christmas dinner, I often end up taking a nap because I feel so full and tired, even though I haven't done anything particularly exhausting.
Lassitude.
As I stood waiting aimlessly in the street, I watched a piece of trash blowing around in a light breeze. In its own way, it was a beautiful moment.
Zephyr.
Sarah and Jamie were twins, but they didn't get on very well. They always seemed to be annoyed with one another, arguing and occasionally fighting.
Fractious. So gang, that's the podcast for today, and I promised you 2 days ago that I had some news for you about the podcast, and I do, right? So, what I'm going to do is, going forward, I'm going to keep doing the podcast. I'm also going to be doing some live streaming lessons. That is, as well as doing the regular podcast, the recorded podcast, I'm going to be recording myself live. I'm going to broadcast it on YouTube. I'm going to try and do it every evening. Probably I'm going to start maybe this weekend or maybe on Monday. I'm still practicing with all the video camera, all this stuff. So that is coming. I'm going to try and do that as often as possible. Potentially every time I do the podcast, I'll do a sort of a live teaching stream. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on my channel, which is youtube.com/c/VictorPrep. So it's going to be there. So if you're studying for the GRE or you just want to learn words, I'm going to be teaching it in real time. You'll be able to chat with me. You'll be able to ask me questions. I will respond in real time, and we're going to do actual lessons. And I think it's going to be amazing. There may be some difficulties at first, sorting out everything, making it work well, but this is happening, and I'm really excited. I'm so pumped for this. So be ready for that. And I'm going to let you know when this is happening, and I'm going to put it up on the Facebook page so you know when it's happening. So please check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/VictorPrepLearning. Write a review of the podcast on iTunes. Tell your friends who are studying for the GRE, or just tell anyone who's slightly nerdy, who likes reading and likes learning. Maybe they'll like the podcast. So guys, as always, you can email me, sam@victorprep.com. Please email me. I will respond. It may take me a day or so, but I will respond. Or you can just tweet at me at @samfold. Alright guys, get ready for the live streaming. It's going to be amazing, I promise. It's going to be so cool. Okay, take it easy. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.